This one you can find at Target. They have the really nice handles here. Give it a little bit of extra, I guess, support so they can't get out. And then it's about this much room inside. We go from 6 to 15. Gives them a little bit extra room, but also doesn't overwhelm them. Like I'm sure many people have said in this group, blood pythons are very private, very secretive, and don't like to be out in the open. So going from the 6 to the 15 will ensure that they still feel secure. Now what I would do is put a little bit of bedding in here, probably up to here. I use a mix of cocoa fiber and cocoa husk from Prococo. And you can see there's some fiber and some chunks in it as well. And I like this because it holds humidity pretty well, and it's not just dirt. So like I said before, I go from the 6 quart to the 32 quart. I put cocoa fiber in here. That is my bedding of choice from when they move on from the baby stage and before they go into their adult housing. This is what I use. I also use cocoa fiber in their 41 quarts as well, but this is the 32. So moving on from the 32 quart, I go to a 41 quart, which is this big. And these are my animals that are about either a very large 1.5-year-old, 2-year-old, up to about 3-ish. My males could probably stay in here because I keep my males fairly small, but my females then move on to a different tub. And that would be the Vision Boa Tubs, which are too hard to pull out, but I will show you a close-up of that as well. If I were to go cages, I would go from baby stage all the way up to subadult stage in tubs. The reason for this is they feel super insecure if they're out in the open, and that way I can put a lot of cocoa fiber in there that they can burrow in and enjoy that. If I were to go cages, I would do a 4-foot by 2-foot cage, and then the height would probably be 18 inches. These cages back here, the height is 18 inches for the berm you see here, and then the retic might show up. But those are 18 high, and that's what I would do for the blood pythons at a maximum. You could even do lower than that. But because ventilation is such an issue with them, I would prefer the 18 inches if you were going to do a cage. Now you can do a wood cage that is sealed very well. As we know, they pee all the time, massive amounts, so you want to make sure that that cage is sealed. Otherwise, I would use PVC because that is what I prefer, but that's my preference, and there are more than one way to house blood pythons. So let me get into the actual examples of my snakes and how I keep them specifically. I use, for babies, these Deli Cups. They're 8-ounce Deli Cups, but this is an easy setup that I have here for this T-negative. Say hello there, little guy. So I just use paper towels on him. He has had his first shed, so I don't worry about water too much. If you've just got a baby snake that has not had their first shed yet, I would make sure that you keep this paper towel moist and check it often so that it doesn't mold. This blood python ate for me right away, had no issues, and that's why he is on paper towels. He also is available. If anyone wants him, let me know. But he stays on paper towels because he eats really well. Now you're going to find some animals that do not feel as secure and might not eat as well for you. And that is going to be the case for this little guy. This is one of my Matrix Het T-negative. Do you see him there? So I have the paper towel. Now when they're first born, I would leave the paper towel out and just put a little bit of water on there and some moss. And that way they will feel secure under the moss. They can bury themselves like that. And that way they have the moisture so they don't get dehydrated. Now, as much as we would like to think that our animals are smart, blood pythons are pretty freaking stupid, and as babies will forget to drink or seek out water. So that's why I make sure that I have the layer of water on the bottom. I learned that from one of the blood python keepers in the group, so thank you very much, Lon. And that has worked out very well. One thing, if you do the water, you want to make sure that they don't get blisters on their skin from actually being too moist. If you do see that occur, kind of take back the moisture a little bit, and then once they shed out, that next time it should clear up. So don't get too alarmed by it. First time I saw it, I got very, very alarmed, but that is a signal that you're keeping your blood python too wet. So make sure you keep an eye out for that, and then bring back the moisture a little bit if that happens. So this is, like I said, one way to do it. There's the little dude there. You see him? Nice and stripy. So this is the Sphagnum Moss. That is what I use. That's my favorite to use. You can get that in the nursery in the orchid area where they keep orchid bark and stuff. Make sure there's no added pesticides or anything like that. I actually just get mine from either PetSmart, Petco, or what I prefer is getting a bigger bulk bag from a reptile show. So that's babies for you. I will not switch these guys out until, like I said, they're almost pushing up against their water bowl. And the reason for that is I go from 6 quart, like I said, to 32 quart, and that is a bit of a jump, and so I want to make sure that they feel very secure when they're going into their 32 quart. With that, if you move them up from a 6 quart into the 32 quart and they don't eat right away, you might want to put a hide there for them because they might be a little bit overwhelmed by all this space. Let me show you what my 32 quart setup looks like. All right, so here we have my 32 quart setup. I just changed out her bedding and you can see she's already inside of it. The water bowl, the size doesn't really matter. If you want, you can make a water bowl about this big and that will work just fine. I found these at the dollar store. Alrighty, so that is the 32 quart. After this, I will move up into a 41 quart, and let me get an example of that. It's going to look very similar to this one. Alrighty, so this is my 41 quart. As you can see, she is quite large in it. She will be moving up probably in the next 6 months, and I will move her to her adult cage, which is a Vision Boa rack. So as you can see, the bowl is bigger here. All right, so this is Jade here, and she is in my 41 quart. Same setup as before, just the cocoa husk so she can hide. I also just changed her out. She actually never really burrows. She's always ready to come out and eat me. So this is Jade, and she is in the 41 quart. I do have 2 different setups for my adult males and my adult females, so I will show you both of those so you can see what I do for each of them. So this is my adult male setup. This is one of my very simplistic adult male setups. It is only paper that I get from Home Depot in the painter section. It's the paper that you would put on the floor if you're going to redo your room to protect your floors. And then I get a big water bowl. These water bowls you can find at horse.com for, I want to say between $5 and $10. They are very cheap. They are perfect, the perfect size for an adult blood python. Okay guys, this is my more quote-unquote complex setup for an adult male. I keep it very, very simple. You'll notice I do have to change his paper, so I apologize. But this is my adult male. He is the male sire to one of my clutches, so yay, exciting. So I just get this from Home Depot. As you can see from the size of my hand against it, this is how big it is. I just put a hole in it, paper towel, leave it there. That is their hide. This guy I found on top of it, so they do like squishing themselves on top of the hide and on top of the rack. But this is one of my OG Sumatrans that I absolutely love. But this is my other adult male setup. I will go ahead and then show you the adult female. All right, so this is my adult female setup. I need to switch out paper on this girl too. She peed. These are stains. I try to scrub them out every single time I clean, and I cannot get this to come out, is what it is. She also likes to hide on top of here and wedge herself up in between the racks. For a size comparison, this is your 6 quart. So that's the baby one. This is your 13. Your 32. Oh, you can't see it. This is your 32. So I just put that on top there. And then this is a Vision Boa tub. I am not sure of the dimensions. I can link that down below at their site. I use mostly Vision racks, though I am going to slowly start switching over to the ARS, mostly because Vision's a little bit flimsy for the size that I want. This hide is bigger than the male one. The male one takes up about half of this. You can find these at Home Depot. Same thing where I go ahead and put the hole in there. I guess it's Sumatran short-tailed day because that's what I'm showing. With this hide, same thing. Are you going to go and shed? You're not supposed to go and shed right now. So the same thing, I just cut a hole in it right here and then go ahead and put the paper towels in. same water bowl that I have in the males. I got that from horse.com. Like I said, that is my favorite. For the price and the size, it is absolutely 100% perfect for my adults. All right, so that is everything that I have here to show you from size baby, medium to my adult male and female setups. I use paper towels, Sphagnum Moss, Prococo cocoa fiber mix, and then I use the Home Depot paper. This right here is my favorite. I don't know if I can see it. All right, it's way too bright. Oh, there you go. All right, so chlorhexidine solution is what I use. It is this dark blue when you get it and you dilute it. I like to dilute it to about this color here. I think the scent's really great. It does the job cleaning. This is actually more concentrated than they call for, but this is about the color that I go for. So that's the disinfectant that I use. So you will get this in the pesticide spray area of Home Depot or Lowe's. And it pumps to put pressure and then you just spray. What I really like, this was really honestly a game changer for me in my keeping, because instead of like getting a hand cramp from spraying a little spray bottle all the time, you just do this. It is perfect when you need a little bit of extra humidity. I live in Tennessee, so I generally do not need extra humidity, but if they're in shed, I'll go ahead and give them a spray. One more thing is a temp gun. So this is the most accurate you will get for temperatures. I do not recommend any of the temperature little displays dial-ups that you stick to the side of the glass. I do not recommend that. I recommend this to point on the ground area where your snake is. If you want to see the temperature of your snake's skin, you can point it at them. And you're going to want that ground temperature area around 80 degrees. You want it in the low 80s. A big mistake a lot of people make is keeping them in the high 80s. With that, I do program all of my thermostats to 86 degrees for their hot spot. And that's because I have a lot of layers of cocoa fiber that it needs to come up and penetrate through. If they bury under that, they can move on the cooler side and that's fine. It takes up maybe about a third-ish of the tub, so they do have space to move around so they can thermoregulate as they wish. I do use the heat cable with all of my racks except for the ARS one, and that has the flex watt on the metal strips. Same thing though, 86 degrees is what I set all of my thermostats to, and I do not zero out my thermostats. If you have herp stats, you're able to calibrate, so to speak. I do not do that, I just go with the 86. I found that's what works for me in my room. It might not work for everyone. In the summer, my room gets up to 82 degrees, and that is the ambient temperature. The lowest it will get in the summer is 79. Right now, it is at 77. With the turn of the seasons, it's getting a little bit cooler, and I might have to bring my heater in soon. But I keep my room at right around 80 degrees. That's the sweet spot that I personally like, and that works for my snakes. If you guys have any questions at all, go ahead and find me on Facebook, either at Designer Exotics or April Justine, or you can comment below, and I will get back to you as soon as I possibly can. I hope that this was informative and useful. I know it was quite long, and I apologize for that, but I wanted to make sure that you guys got the information that you needed. If there's anything else, any videos you would like to see regarding blood pythons, Borneos, or short-tails, Sumatran short-tails, please let me know. I will do my best to get that out for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Once again, I'm April Justine with Designer Exotics, and welcome to my snake room.